Welcome to the 2021 Fall Governing Board and this session presented by your National Educational Department.
Thanks, Bill, and thank you for joining us for the America's Boating Channel update at the United States Power Squadron's 2021 Fall Governing Board meeting. During this session, we'll actually launch our 5th season of boating safety and boater education videos that will start today here in Raleigh and across the internet and run throughout this year's fall boating season. And we'll preview what's being planned for season 6. But first, here's a report on America's Boating Channel's 4th season. Our viewership experienced significant growth in the second quarter of 2021, along with favorable shifts in our viewing demographics. Our videos were watched nearly 76,400 times from April 1st through June 30th, up 48% over the number of views of our videos during the first quarter. The amount of time boaters invested viewing our videos exceeded 3,300 hours, also up by nearly half. Our viewers are getting younger and more diverse. Ages 18 to 54 represented 83% of our viewing, up more than 5 percentage points over the first quarter, with more than half of them in our primary target audience of 35 to 54-year-olds. Viewers 65 and over now represent just 4% of our audience, down by 20% since Q1. Female viewing was up 12 percentage points in the second quarter, and our viewers are now closer to home, with 58% coming from U.S. viewing households, which is up 7 points from the previous period. Our focus now is on the public launch of Season 5 that will start a little later during our session today, on the Friday afternoon of Labor Day weekend, and extend for 10 weeks throughout the fall 2021 boating season. Titles in their launch sequence include Knowledge versus Skills, this year's entry in the General Boater Education category, which will premiere live at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time today, Friday, September 3rd, on americasboatingchannel.com and America's Boating Channel on YouTube. Wear an ECOS, or engine cutoff switch, which explains requirements of the new regulation affecting smaller powerboats. Inflatable life jackets, an in-depth look at various types of inflatables, how they work, and how to care for them. Carbon monoxide dangers that exposes this silent killer on larger powerboats, plus how to treat and prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. Collision avoidance, zeroing in on this most important consideration among the navigation rules with some valuable tips and suggestions. Bui Fatalities, the ultimate danger of boating under the influence, and far worse than the legal and financial repercussions. New label benefits, with more information on the new life jacket labeling system than last year's introductory video. Fire extinguisher standards explains the changes and classifications of marine fire extinguishers and demonstrates the pull, aim, squeeze, sweep, or pass technique. Basic Marine Communications explores VHF DSC marine radios, which remain the preferred means of boat-to-boat and boat-to-shore communications, plus EPIRBs, PLBs, and the new I-911 mobile phone system. And finally, cold weather boating, as distinguished from cold water survival, in that here you'll receive life-saving recommendations for intentionally boating in cold weather. Coast Guard review and approval of Season 5 videos progressed smoothly over the summer, and all Season 5 videos are now authorized for release to the general public. For the full month of August, we enabled an exclusive preview period for USPS educators and members to screen and share Coast Guard approved Season 5 videos as they were authorized to come online. The entire season is now posted at case-sensitive bit.ly USPS ABC. That's lowercase bit.ly all caps USPS ABC. Open the folder called Season 5, Videos, Compilations, and Pullouts. Feel free to use the videos for educational and promotional purposes and to share them with fellow members and the public at large. The public debuts of our Season 5 videos, which will be supported with press announcements and social media marketing, will take place every Friday afternoon for the next 10 weeks. In addition to the live launch of our first title, we've planned something different for today's session, a truly special treat. Field producers will personally describe their experiences and lessons learned in organizing the resources required for capturing all of the video footage for 3 of our Season 5 videos, and collectively for almost all of the footage for the other 7 videos. These behind-the-scenes presentations will be followed by premiere screenings of each of their respective exclusively Squadron-created videos. Andy Anderson will offer a commander's perspective on Tybee Light Squadron's experience making knowledge versus skills. Sue Kimmel will cover the Chattanooga Squadron's experience making carbon monoxide dangers. And Rose Stano will cover Grosse Pointe, Detroit, and other District 9 squadrons' experience making inflatable life jackets, this year's largest endeavor. In prior years, we typically visited as many as 10 squadrons to capture all of the raw footage needed for that season's flight of videos. But this year, thanks to extraordinary leadership of squadron field producers and unprecedented levels of participation by local members, we were able to capture nearly every shot sequence at just the 3 squadrons we'll hear from now. And again, after we've benefited from the behind-the-scenes observations and lessons learned from Andy, Sue, and Rose, we'll screen knowledge versus skills, carbon monoxide dangers, and inflatable life jackets, the 3 Season 5 videos that exclusively feature their members. So let's get started. Here's Andy Anderson.
Thanks, Marty. Let me give you a squadron commander's perspective on hosting the America's Voting Channel video shoot. Actually, Charlie Satanides, our administrative officer, was our actual field project manager for this video. In 2019, Charlie was our co-op charting chairman, and he received the message all the squadrons did about submitting videos of ATONs for our upcoming video. He was out doing some charting and actually did some videos and submitted them. So at the 2020 annual conference, Marty had an ABC America's Voting Channel awards ceremony, and Charlie was invited. I attended too, got to meet Marty there, and really had a great time and learned more about America's Voting Channel. Fast forward to 2021 at the virtual annual meeting. We had all been shut down because of COVID, and so we were watching the virtual meeting and talking about the upcoming season and what America's Voting Channel was going to do. Both Charlie and I heard Marty ask for squadrons to think about hosting it. So we got together, discussed it, and thought, again, we'd like to showcase Tybee Light Sail and Power Squadron. We'd like to showcase the Savannah area. Our waterways are beautiful. Charlie wrote up a little invitation offer to get to him. Did a great job, put together a profile of Squadron, what our membership looked like, the types of boats we had, types of educational background we had. And really, it was a fine job. I was ready to join. I hadn't seen it before. So he sent that to Marty, and Marty accepted that day. So we immediately had our executive committee get together, and they thought this would be a great thing to get us back together and start doing some things together. So we went ahead and started our pre-planning. That was a real key for the success. And again, having a dedicated individual, somebody's attention to detail like Troy was, he kind of took the lead on that and was very successful. We communicated directly with Marty, then communicated back with us and took Marty's task at hand and put them together. We sent out emails to our squadron asking for participants that wanted to do things. We also looked to our community, looked at the marinas, the Marine Patrol, marine supply stores, etc., to get them involved. And again, everybody stepped forward. When you said you were doing an America's Voting Channel, a voting safety video, everybody just wanted to get included. So it really worked out. So then we actually, Marty put together scripts for each of the scenes. Again, These were all pre-approved videos that the Coast Guard had sponsored, so the details were there, and I was impressed. They kind of said what each script would be, what the boat captain did, what the crew did, etc. So we got the script, developed the schedule, the assignments, the locations. Marty spoke to each of the assigned members to clarify their role. We identified resources, allocated them, and we had backup plans. What if it rained? What would our backup plan be? What alternatives would there be? We had a kickoff on Friday night. Marty and Siri got in town, and so we pulled the people who signed up. Over half of them showed up. One of our brand new marinas had just opened, offered us their second level patio to have a meeting in. Unfortunately, the winds were like 15, 20 miles an hour, so we actually hunkered down with a shelter beside the marina, and we did our kickoff meeting, a meet and greet. Everybody got to meet everybody from the family members. We didn't really know other members were there. And Marty got to meet everybody individually. Then we had a kind of a safety brief. I talked about the safety aspect. We had the waivers that everybody needed to sign. That was all put together real well. And so we completed that. And we actually, Marty gave us a couple acting lessons. And so we had a couple volunteers stand up and kind of how you would go through the shoots, kind of prepare people for what to expect when the camera was on. So I thought it was a great kickoff. We took off from there and began production the next day, that Saturday morning. That was our in-class setting. We actually used the church where we do our ABC class. So that was a great venue. We had volunteers and family members there, so it was like a regular class Saturday morning. And then that afternoon, we went out on the water and conducted the video shoots related to the classroom setting at 2 different locations with, I believe, 3 or 4 boats and 3 or 4 families. So the day one was a real good kickoff. That kind of set the stage for the rest of the week. We followed through every day. There was a morning and an afternoon session. Fortunately, we had a number of our leadership members that kind of volunteered to be around and back up on those if they weren't actually performing. They were there as a backup, and like I said, everybody was there. Everybody had fun. We got to know each other. We had a situation where we needed the boat balance, so we had our 2 guys do that. They become known as our ballast brothers. They sat on one side of the boat, so it kept it level while everybody was on the other side. Little things like that weren't planned, weren't written in the script, really just kind of made it a great experience for the squadron. Daily production and completion, like I said, we had a backup plan. Really, we didn't have to back up. We didn't have any weather cancellations, and we reviewed and adjusted as we went forward. So, from what I heard, Marty got all the shots that he planned on getting while he was here. We didn't have to use our rain day, which was Sunday, so we had our post-shoot celebration on the 15th, which was Saturday. Our squadron already had a cruise plan for a restaurant we liked that's about 2 hours south of Savannah on one of the rivers there in Sunbury. So we had that cruise already planned and lined up, and so that was an opportunity for Marty to boat with us to the luncheon and actually have the camera going. So we got all the boats up on plane, and naturally we had to take 3 takes going by to get just the right scene. But it was headed on down the intercoastal waterway to Sunbury. Had a great lunch. Did our group picture, said goodbye. Siri had driven there because they had to get on the road and head down to Chattanooga for the next shoot. So that was our celebration at the end. It was great. Had a good time, and then we all boated back home. To kind of get a quick summary of the squadron benefits, as I felt, and I think as our leadership team felt, we had member and family involvement with many of our newer members participating. Everyone got to demonstrate their own boat handling and safety skills. I think that reinforced that. We had personal education. I learned a lot each day that I was there, and it was a rewarding experience. We can't say enough about the team building. We had people on the team that we didn't even know that would participate before. And we also had community outreach. One of our goals as a squadron is to reach out into our community and provide service and safety and boating education. And I think this helped do it. The people we came in contact with saw what we're doing. The marina where we boat out of, most of the dock hands there knew about it and asked us how the shoots went each day when we left. So it was really fun from that standpoint. We had personal photo and video sharing. Well, people were there to pull out their phones and maybe able to take their own shots and videos and share that among ourselves. Great aspect to put in our newsletter, eating it that much. So we had a lot of pictures for the last 2 months in our newsletters. The backstage support and involvement. You didn't have to be in the scene. You could just show up. We told everybody where the locations were. If there was a marina close to them, a lot of times people would come down and help out. And then our new member assimilation. A couple of people who just graduated from the America's Boating class, joined the squadron, and really got involved and felt good about what they were doing. So the surprise that Marty offers, and he said it early, is that there'd be an exclusive video where He would try just to use our squadron members in one video and make that exclusive to us. Back on that Saturday, I really didn't know what that meant, but as we got towards the end, he shared with us that it was going to be the one that you're all going to see today, the knowledge versus skill. So I think that was great because it actually began in our classroom with our actual real instructors that went out in the water with those instructors instructing our staff, our family members on the different boating skills. So I think it's a great video. Of course, I was a part of it. It really worked out well. I think that I could share much more about what went on in the classroom and what went on with the students, but from a squadron standpoint, I think our executive committee all felt this was probably one of the great aspects. Even our district commander, Jim Wilkin, I told him about it beforehand. He took and drove down for the kickoff and watched us on the first day of filming and thought it was good. And actually, we published an article in our district newsletter this month. So it's had a positive impact, not just in Savannah, but across the coastal Carolina and Savannah region. So why host the meeting? And I hope you've heard enough reasons already, but the benefits we already highlighted. But I think it also highlighted our squadron, our waterways, and our community. Again, we're all proud of being here and being in Savannah and being a part of the Tidy Light. And I think that shows in the individuals in our membership that you'll see in the videos. I brought our squadron together. Again, we've been video Zoom meetings for the last year, very few interactions. We just started getting back on the water, as a lot of you have. And so this was a good way to get us both back in the water, out in the fresh air, and to do something different, something fun, and pull some of those old skills out in practice. We made new friends, including Marty and Sari and their new Tidy Light family. Individuals did things they never thought. One of my granddaughters got to dock a boat. She'd never driven a boat before. One of the other members' granddaughters practiced falling overboard in the man overboard drill. I even got arrested and handcuffed, which I really didn't want to do as part of the VUI. And Marty got to chase a container ship down the Savannah River, so he could do a collision avoidance scene, which fortunately was successful. Our community partners stepped up, people we asked stepped up, and we're sharing those videos with them. And I think everyone really had fun. If you look at the end of the day, it might have been a long day or it might have been a cool day, but at the end of the day, everybody was happy and smiling. So I know you're probably asking yourself, knowing what we know now, would we host another America's Boating Channel video shoot? And I have to say yes. Sorry, Charlie, but we need you back doing this all over again. We had a great time, and thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Excellent commentary. Kudos to Charlie for setting a very high bar for excellence in field production planning. And a personal thank you to Bob and Gayla Bennett for hosting Sari and me at their lovely sea cottage during our time in Savannah, which included tasting Gayla's homemade key lime pie and Bob's regularly pitching in way beyond the call of duty. And now, here's the final preview of Knowledge versus Skills, the first season 5 video that will go public online very shortly this afternoon.
What's the difference between knowledge and skills? And why does it matter? Because what you know about boating and how well you perform boating tasks together define your boating ability. Boating knowledge together with boating skills form the basis of your competence as a boat operator.
Concepts, principles, and information about boating can be learned through reading, studying, and observing. The ability to plan, depart, anchor, dock, and perform other boat maneuvers can be mastered through experience. In other words, knowledge refers to theory, and skill refers to putting that theory into practice.
You might know the purpose of different types of batons, the chart of an inlet, or the parts of an outboard engine. There's a difference, though, between knowing what and understanding how.
Knowing the chart of an inlet is not the same as having the practical skills needed to safely navigate it. If you've never run a boat, you probably won't have the needed operational ability. This is the key difference between knowledge and skills.
A skill means that you are able to do something. There are different levels of skill, and practice is usually the key to improving skills. As your navigation skills improve with practice, in effect, you gain practical knowledge as a result of developing these skills.
It's important to have or to learn the skills and knowledge you need for the kind of boating you want to do.
Knowledge is theoretical and includes information and concepts you can learn. Boating knowledge can be transferred from one person to another or acquired through observation and study.
Skills are practical and include performance of operations you can master. Boating skills are acquired through a combination of sensory input and output during practice of boat maneuvers in various circumstances and conditions.
Beware of so-called training that is limited merely to information transfer, because such programs will fail to deliver results. When training is relegated to lectures, presentations, and quizzes, you may learn many things, but won't necessarily be able to do much with your knowledge. Your training should also include activities, simulation, and scenarios.
You can know the navigation rules, statistics about boating safety, and nautical terminology, but this only makes you knowledgeable about boating. It does not make you any good at it. To achieve a desired performance level for any given task, you must take advantage of opportunities to perform the actions required so you can improve your execution until you master it. To become good at boating, you must practice on-the-water activities in order to improve your skills through experience.
But conversely, boating skills can be developed more easily and safely if you have prior knowledge of the task to be accomplished. While learning to run a boat through trial and error without having any idea about how boats operate would be reckless and dangerous to yourself and others. Theory can be limited reasonably to minimal requirements before commencing practice of specific tasks.
You cannot learn how to run a boat without knowing where the helm and throttle are located. But the best way to learn the effects of acceleration and steering is not only to read about them, but also actually to experience them.
To mitigate associated risks, use a recreational boat simulator. Arrange for on-the-water training with a certified instructor, or ask an experienced boater to be your mentor.
Developing skills will provide additional knowledge as a function of practicing and mastering tasks that result in new learning. And most important, your boating abilities will increase because the more you do something, the better you get at doing it.
But remember that skills also involve the successful application of previously acquired knowledge.
Building on basic knowledge, mastering boating skills will come over time from repetition.
It is this combination of learning and experience that will allow you to become a better boater.
Adding knowledge and improving skills increases boating ability.
Next up, Sue Kimmel will discuss her experience as our Chattanooga-based field producer for carbon monoxide dangers and for portions of several other Season 5 videos.
First, I want to thank Marty for inviting me to speak and to say that I hope through my story, some clubs will volunteer their time and talents for the Voting Channel videos. I would like to talk about how and why I got involved with the videos, and also to talk about a little bit about some of the lessons we learned during the week and takeaways to help you make a decision whether or not to get involved. In starting, I'd like to say, as the new public affairs officer in our club, I wanted some ideas on how to publicize our club and to know more about the work at National. I watched several virtual presentations from USPS National Meeting, including the presentation about America's Boating Channel. During the presentation, Marty asked for volunteer squadrons for future filming. Well, I thought, we do live near the Tennessee River, which has a variety of boats, personal watercraft and paddlecraft, not to mention great scenery, which would make a good filming location. So why not? As a squadron instructor for our Safe Boating public course, I had already watched many of the safety and personal watercraft operations videos on America's Boating Channel, and I used the information to add to my basic presentation. So I was already a fan of the boating channel. I saw participation in the videos as a marketing tool for our squadron. It would be a great way to make new contacts, increase our name recognition, and generate a positive public image. So I called Marty up and started asking questions. He was positive and supportive, and before you knew it, we were on the filming list. My job would be to scout locations, identify local talent, cajole boat owners to participate, schedule the video recording sessions, and coordinate all logistics during the shoots at their respective locations. Marty sent us a list of video topics, the timeline, which consisted of 5 days of filming, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon on successive days, also a description of scenes to be filmed, and an equipment list, some of which they would provide and some which we would put together. I knew we would need outside help, so I immediately started making phone calls. First to our club members, then boating friends and families of our members, then to marinas and boat dealerships. We called everywhere in the area. We notified local yacht, fishing, and sailing clubs. From all these phone calls, I made a list of people, the size and types of boats they could provide, and location and owner of equipment we would need to provide on site. From this list, Marty then made phone calls to folks who volunteered and set up the shoot schedule. I really thought he did the hard part. The phone calls were fun for me. My husband Jim and I extended an invitation to the Laffertys to stay with us for the week, which they graciously accepted. They were the entirety of the filming crew, and we thought that if they stayed with us, the logistics would be a little bit better for the week. The evening they arrived, the club hosted a cast orientation meeting at our local sailing club. Several of their members were part of our group, and they were very excited to help us out. Most of the real work is already done by the time Marty and Sari show up, or maybe I should say most of the local club's work was done. They were here for 1 week, and during that time, our job was to make sure Marty and Sari and the local people and boats got to the right place at the right time. On the set, which is where Marty and Sari did all the work, Marty directed and Sari kept things moving smoothly. Jim, again, my better half, was available for anything extra. By the end of the week, he was awarded the first script title. The carbon monoxide video was unique because all the scenes for the video were filmed here in Chattanooga. There were several people and families involved, and we needed some bigger boats. One of our members had just sold their boats, but they asked and were able to procure use of the boat from the new owners for the video. I also enjoyed filming the sailboats for the collision avoidance video because I was able to get to know better our sailing members. If you watch the boating under the influence video, you will see my drunk partner fall down the steps and my commander being arrested for boating under the influence. At the end of the shooting, Marty sponsor and cast party where everyone shared their stories and Marty recognized our quote-unquote super performers. Everything was so organized. Thank you, Marty. And the Laffertys were very supportive and positive the whole week. And as a result of that, the week went by with hardly a hitch. I would say that Marty and Sari are great resources. I use them and abuse them, and I hope that if you decide to do the videos, you will too. They are a great resource. Having them close by really greatly facilitated our communications and ability to get things done in a timely manner. So if you can host them in your home, I would definitely recommend it. They're pretty user-friendly. Starting early was a key element in the success of this venture, and getting on the list early and getting all the information from Marty and subsequently putting that list together, I think were a real key to the success of the video filming that week. I'd also like to say that the business response to our invitation to participate was overwhelmingly positive. Local clubs, marinas, dealers, even local law enforcement and our local paramedics all participated in different videos. Taking care of the Laffertys was not labor intensive. We did not have to cook, clean, and entertain our guests. The Laffertys spent most of their evenings reviewing the day's work and planning for the next day. And they were super accommodating. I guess I'd like to conclude by talking about what's in it for you and why I think you should get involved. For us, it was especially fun, very interesting, and educational. It was a great opportunity, a wonderful opportunity to get a behind-the-scenes look at the work that goes into producing America's Boating Channel. It was something very different from what we usually do at the squadron level, so it was very new and exciting for the members. We were able to put our name out there in front of the public. All of the agencies, local agencies that we contacted, stepped up and helped us out right away. Another good thing about participating is that you learn a lot more about the national activities and what the national does to support our local activities. I also would encourage you to consider participating in the videos because it's a great teaching tool. America's Boating Channel is a great teaching tool, and it's a great way to publicize America's Boating Channel. You will get an advanced copy of the videos if you participate, and you can provide those links to your members, non-members, friends of the squadron, all sorts of individuals and organizations in the local area that may want to view the videos and hopefully come online for them. By volunteering, you will meet new people, make new contacts, and create new interest in the club. I definitely encourage you to support America's Boating Channel.
Thank you, Sue. Terrific remarks. And I need to expand on your comments about your husband, Jim, who can boast the most rapidly advancing show business career of all time. At the beginning of the week, Jim performed as a key grip where he stood out for being on top of every detail. So much so that he was promoted to assistant director for the rest of the week, a role in which he coached actors and a position in which he also excelled. Next, Jim added on-camera work to his repertoire with a standout performance, doing his own stunts, which included falling down a full flight of stairs on Commander John DePrima's boat in Bui Fatalities. But now we'll screen Carbon Monoxide Dangers, exclusively featuring Chattanoogans, that will launch publicly on Friday afternoon, September 24th.
Each year, boaters are sickened or killed by entirely preventable poisoning from a gas you can't see, smell, or taste. Carbon monoxide is produced when carbon-based fuels, like gasoline or propane, are burned.
The most obvious source on a powerboat is the engine, and most incidents occur from exhaust leaking into enclosed areas, the rear deck near the swim platform, or directly behind a slow-moving boat.
It can also come from onboard generators, space and water heaters, stoves, and grills. It's important to know the symptoms of exposure to this deadly gas, what to do if you suspect someone has been exposed, and how to prevent it.
Carbon monoxide enters the bloodstream through the lungs, displacing needed oxygen and initially causing eye irritation, headache, nausea, confusion, weakness, and dizziness. Early symptoms mimic seasickness or intoxication.
Prolonged exposure to low concentrations or short exposure to high concentrations can lead to seizures, brain damage, unconsciousness, and death. Physical exertion accelerates the rate of poisoning.
If you or a fellow boater experiences any of its symptoms, seek fresh air immediately, ventilate the area, and shut off suspected sources of carbon monoxide.
Once out in the open air, administer oxygen if available. Contact medical help, and if the victim is not breathing, confirm there is a pulse and perform CPR until help arrives. It may be necessary to undergo emergency treatment at the closest medical facility.
By taking steps to detect and treat carbon monoxide poisoning early, you can help save your life or the lives of your passengers.
Carbon monoxide emissions create death zones for swimmers near or under the back deck or swim platform, and for everyone near exhaust vent areas.
Traveling at slow speeds can cause carbon monoxide to build up in the cabin, bridge, cockpit, aft deck, and open areas, and is exacerbated by a tailwind.
Operating at a high bow angle, overloading or improperly loading a boat can cause a backdraft drawing in exhaust fumes.
Docking, anchoring, or rafting in close proximity to other boats that have engines or generators running can also expose boat operators and their passengers to poisonous fumes.
To prevent carbon monoxide poisoning, maintain fresh air circulation throughout the boat and keep the engine tuned for peak performance. Know how and where carbon monoxide may accumulate.
Install marine-grade carbon monoxide detectors inside your boat. Test them regularly and believe them.
Never sit, teak surf, or hang on the back deck or swim platform while engines are running. Make sure ski ropes are an appropriate length. Always wear a life jacket. If someone passes out and falls overboard, this could save their life.
Before getting underway, ensure all exhaust system components are secure and free of rust, black streaking, water leaks, and corrosion. Inspect rubber exhaust hoses for burns, cracks, or deterioration, and replace as needed. Check that engines, generators, and cooling systems are properly tuned and well maintained.
Educate family and friends about carbon monoxide so they are aware of the signs of early poisoning. Keep forward-facing hatches open, even in inclement weather, to allow fresh air in living spaces. When possible, run the boat so that prevailing winds help dissipate exhaust.
Carbon monoxide is one of the most dangerous threats on the water because boaters don't realize it's present until it's too late. Its most common source is a running engine. Carbon monoxide can make you sick in seconds, and high concentrations can kill. Symptoms can be confused with seasickness or intoxication. Avoid closed-off, poorly ventilated areas, and never ride or hang on a swim platform when the engine is running.
If carbon monoxide is suspected, open all windows, hatches, and ports to ventilate. Move a person to fresh air if carbon monoxide poisoning is indicated, and seek medical attention at once.
And finally, Rose Stano will take us behind the scenes in the Lake St. Clair region with her perspective as the field producer for Inflatable life jackets, as well as several sections of other Season 5 videos.
Thank you, Marty. So why do you want to be a part of America's Boating Channel? Are you looking for a new adventure? Does your group need a new project to get them involved? Are you ready to laugh and cry at the antics you can come up with? Everyone asked me why I invited Marty and Sari Lafferty to Michigan to shoot for America's Boating Channel. It was because they are positive and happy people who enjoy the mission of the United States Power Squadron, getting out there to promote boating safety in new and novel ways. Every year I go to national meetings to get new ideas and bring them back to Michigan. Every year I would see Marty up there in front of the group creating a great presentation and a bunch of people around him who were having fun. I wanted to be a part of that group, and I wanted to bring it back to Michigan. Michigan is a great boating state. It contains over 10,000 inland lakes and is surrounded by the Great Lakes. But we, like everyone, having our challenges. All of us are surrounded with people who see glasses that are half full and getting lower. The shrinking membership, the lack of involvement, the need for new ideas abound. So I emailed Marty and told him how diverse Michigan boating was, with diversity in age and ethnic groups. So he agreed to come north. Was it easy to deliver? No. It took a lot of work. I knew that my squadron alone could not provide enough boats for 10 shoots in 5 days. So I opened up to the state of Michigan, District 9. We have 7 squadrons in southeastern Michigan and 12 in the state of Michigan. There should be lots of boaters ready to jump on board, but fear and anxiety kept them away. It took a lot of emails, phone calls, showing up at meetings to talk about it, and even recruiting my boating neighbor at the marina. But we accomplished it. I was able to recruit members from my home boating squadron of Grosse Pointe, as well as Mount Clemens in Detroit, plus participants on boats from Dearborn and Lansing. The squadrons of Grand Rapids and Wyandotte were interested as well, but did not fit into the schedule. Marty was great at setting up the timetable, talking to the boaters to find the right fit for them in the scripts. Marty and Sari are a well-oiled machine that know what they need to do to get the job done. They are organized to a T. They have everything they need, or they know what they need to get. It was surprising how organized, efficient, and energetic they are, and how that rubs off on you and the group involved. You, as the field producer, act as the local guide to get to the boats and to find passengers for the boats in the scripts and to find local restaurants with good food. You spend more quality time with boaters you thought you knew and meeting new ones. Who knew there was a drum set up in the basement for a concert or a full train set up to play with? You can have the pleasure of having the Lafferty stay in your home. They bring the best Italian coffee for breakfast. You're up at dawn to discuss the day's events, pack the car, and be at the first shoot at 10 a.m. You spend the next 2 hours slowly shooting the sequence of events that are all scripted out. Marty and Sari are so patient, fun-loving, and kind, you spend the whole day laughing. Snacks and water and seltzer are always available since you're so nervous you forget to eat and are easily dehydrated from the exposure. Lunch and dinner are at local restaurants or sponsored at the shoot. In the afternoon, you're off to the next shoot, plus you're lucky to get rides on these wonderful boats. Evening is reserved for reviewing the day's shoots, reviewing the scripts from the next day, and logging the shots or the dailies for the day's shoots. Usually that's between 80 and 100 shot sequence for each morning and afternoon video recording session, which involves changing the names of files from the numbers on the camera to the numbers and letters of the screens within the video script, and then uploading the properly labeled files to the editor, who can begin assembling rough cuts by matching the file names with the corresponding letters and numbers of scenes in the script. You don't have to cook. You just keep the team rolling. You have the best time of your life and know that this is what being part of America's Boating Club is all about. Would I do it again? Yes, in a minute. What would make it easier next time? Talking to twice as many people, to reach out and share this valuable experience, plus taking a deep breath, relaxing, and enjoying the moment. The benefits are reaching out and engaging boaters to share their experience and love of boating. Even though we spent many hours on the shoots with only a few pictures being used, it was the fellowship that made the whole project worthwhile. Plus the swag. We have America Boating Channel t-shirts, hats, magnets, and stickers. We, in District 9, even made special remembrance buttons for our stars. Now we can wear those buttons and apparel to local meetings, events, or out in the general public. Remember, it takes seeing something 5 to 30 times to remember it. So just putting on that shirt or hat gets America's Boating Channel name out in the public and brings back those memories of good times. Did I mention the learning? I knew nothing about remote ECOS or emergency cutoff switches before the shoot, and I called 5 of our local squadrons to see if anyone had one or used them, but no one had. But now I know all about them. You may have read your manual on life jackets, but how many of us have tested it, taken apart, washed it? This seeing, doing, teaching are all hallmarks of truly learning. This we accomplished for ourselves. Plus, it is now recorded so we can share with family, friends, and fellow boaters. Reviewing is important as well. These 6-minute videos can now be used in your classes. They can be sent across social media platforms to share our message. They keep us current with the safety needs of the Coast Guard and the boating community. Attendance at our next picnic after the video shoots went from 30 to 50 people just to review the videos and congratulate each other on a job well done. Just talking about the shoots has landed us speaking opportunities with the local Propeller Club and the Anchor Bay Yachting Association. We now have something to get excited about. In a time of Zoom meetings and social distancing, I believe America's Boating Channel has been a special and important way to keep America's Boating Club alive and well. Fun, friendship, fellowship, teaching, learning are all an important part of this experience. So whenever the opportunity presents itself, just jump on board. Thank you, Marty and Sari Lafferty, for your hard work and dedication. You were truly the highlight of my summer. Rose Stano.
Thank you, Rose. Great observations, and thank you for the kind words as well. We also need to praise your husband, Bill, who on a career track remarkably similar to Jim Kimmel's, advanced through the ranks of production assistant to a character actor in Fire Extinguisher Standards, and ultimately landed a lead role in Where and Ecos, in which he also performed his own stunts. Now we can watch a sneak preview of Inflatable Life Jackets, this year's longest video, which will launch on Friday afternoon, September 17th.
What are inflatable life jackets?
They are life vests or belts that rely on inflatable chambers to provide buoyancy. They come in a variety of U.S. Coast Guard defined performance types based on amount of buoyancy, in-water performance, and type of inflation mechanism. When uninflated, they are typically less cumbersome than their inherently buoyant counterparts.
What are the different types of inflators?
Manual automatic and manual only. Manual automatics use a water-soluble capsule, bobbin, or hydrostatic release mechanism to pierce a carbon dioxide cylinder and release its gas when submerged in water. They should inflate even if the wearer is unconscious. Manual onlys rely on a lanyard that toggles the inflation mechanism to pierce the CO2 cylinder. Wearers can swim in them without causing them to inflate, making the manual type suitable for human-propelled sports where water entry is a given, but hand and arm mobility are required for activation. All inflatables contain a backup oral inflation tube, also used for deflation. If you cannot orally inflate the life jacket without assistance, which would be necessary if your inflation mechanism failed, choose an inherently buoyant life jacket.
What are the advantages of inflatable life jackets?
They are comfortable, offer high visibility when inflated, and turn and keep most wearers face up, including unconscious persons. In addition to superior in-water performance, they offer greater freedom of movement. Most popular is the sleek, lightweight suspender style. Thanks to their relative slimness, they are also easier to store.
What are their disadvantages?
Some require two-stage donning, and none are suitable for persons who cannot tread water and will be unable to orally inflate the life jacket if needed. Manual automatics are not appropriate for activities that involve frequent water entry, and neither type are approved for personal watercraft or towed water sports. They also require frequent inspection and maintenance. Instances of fatal accidents where inflatable life jackets failed to properly inflate have been documented. Once activated, they must be rearmed with a new activation device and cylinder, and some inflators are not easily rearmed without special tools and know-how.
What are prescribed uses of inflatable life jackets?
Both manual automatics and manual-only types are for use by persons at least 16 years old and are not suitable for poor or non-swimmers. They must be worn on the outside of all clothing to prevent serious rib injury upon automatic inflation or to allow access to the lanyard or inflatable tube. For recreational cruising aboard power and sailboats, their unobtrusive designs let arms move without constriction. The manual-only types may be preferable for kayaking, canoeing, or stand-up paddleboarding.
What are prohibitions against their use?
Inflatable life jackets do not meet carriage requirements when worn by persons under 16, should not be used by persons weighing less than 80 pounds, nor by anyone who is a weak or non-swimmer. They are not approved or recommended for personal watercraft or high-intensity water sports like racing, water skiing, tubing, wakeboarding, whitewater rafting, or sailboarding.
Should inflatable life jackets be inspected or tested?
Yes, inflatables should be visually inspected each time before they are donned to ensure that they are properly armed. At least bi-monthly, fill the chamber with dry air and leave it inflated overnight at a constant temperature to check for loss of pressure. Deflate by turning the cap upside down and pressing its top to open the one-way valve. Gently squeeze or use a shop vac to expel the air, being careful not to wring or twist the life jacket. Then, repack it properly. Store in a cool, dry place.
What should be done prior to getting underway?
Boat owner-operators must ensure serviceability of carried life jackets. If there's a service indicator, make sure it's green. If it's red, the mechanism has been fired or is improperly fitted, and the jacket will not work. Check that auto-inflating components are armed and unexpired. Make sure the pull tab lanyard is accessible and unlikely to catch when being worn. Check that the CO2 cylinder is firmly secured. Examine it for rust or corrosion, and if you remove it, be sure to carefully replace it without over-tightening. Check the fabric for visible signs of damage by ensuring there are no rips, tears, or holes. Seams are securely sewn, and straps and hardware still strong.
What should be done with an inflatable life jacket at the end of the day on the water?
If it's equipped with automatic inflation, remove the bobbin and CO2 cartridge before washing to avoid accidental inflation. If it's been exposed to salt water, rinse thoroughly in fresh water. To clean the outer shell, hand wash with warm, soapy water. Hang it up to dry thoroughly before storing in a cool, dry place. Remember to replace the bobbin and CO2 cartridge once the life jacket is thoroughly dry. The bobbin can only be inserted one way, and the cartridge simply screws in.
What if the inflatable life jacket has been deployed?
If you use your inflatable life jacket, you will need to replace the CO2 cylinder and activation device, and in some cases the entire inflator mechanism. For automatics, the bobbins should be replaced in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations. You should also have your life jacket serviced each time it's deployed and checked for any damage that may have occurred during the incident.
How do inflatables otherwise need to be serviced and maintained?
Manufacturers have different maintenance instructions which typically include annual servicing. Knowing and following these directions are critical to ensure the bladder, inflation mechanism, and CO2 cylinder are in good working order. Inspect the buoyancy chamber and inflation system at least every 2 months. Make sure the cartridge is screwed in firmly so as to allow the firing pin to pierce it. Check all components for dirt and corrosion, the oral inflation valve for blockage and tears, and all fastening mechanisms for damage. Replace the bobbin on an automatic model every 12 months unless otherwise specified by the manufacturer, and the CO2 cartridge every 1 to 3 years or is indicated by weight.
To understand the details of a specific life jacket, read its label and owner's manual instructions on how to wear, operate, and look after it. Consult your dealer or retailer if needed. Periodically check the Coast Guard Boating Safety Division's website at uscgboating.org for recalls and the latest information.
With the many different life jackets available, there's certainly one that's perfectly suited for you, given the type of boating you'll be doing, your comfort level on the water, and your ability to swim. Whatever you decide, be sure to wear your life jacket. It can only save your life if you do.
Time permitting, at the closing of this session, we'll play Bui Fatalities, which involve members from Andy, Sue, and Rose's squadrons, and is a great testament not only to their skills, but also to their members' diverse and exceptional talents. But now, let's look ahead. In June, the Coast Guard notified us that we were awarded a grant for Season 6, and we negotiated the priorities and deliverables to match the amount of funding, which is the largest USPS Coast Guard grant for the period ending September 2022. Highlights include 10 new original videos, with subject matter tentatively to include responsibilities of recreational boat operators toward their passengers, using propane systems on boats, new fire extinguisher regulations, dangers of overloading boats, navigating in channels with commercial traffic, new wireless engine cutoff systems, avoiding slips, trips, and falls, the difficulty of donning life jackets while overboard, electronic visual distress signaling devices, and the migration to digital charts and virtual ATONs. Our promotional campaign will migrate from weekly features of new and different titles to daily, with very short videos in the 30-second to 1-minute range being introduced as part of the effort. We've had considerable success with pullouts of longer form videos in the 1 to 3-minute range, and the Coast Guard wants to see if we can reach even more novice boaters and mobile phone viewers by going even shorter and with higher frequency. We'll be exploring TikTok and some young adult influencers as a part of this. Bill McManaman's idea to develop a series of narrated drone shot videos coming into and departing from popular recreational boat waterway entrances and ports was accepted, and we'll be developing and beta testing that concept as part of our Season 6 slate as well. Which brings us to what we'd like to do for the duration of this session. First, let's conduct a brainstorming session on ideas for the 10 original videos that represent the core deliverable. What to include for sure, what not to bother with at all, plus alternatives to the proposed topics. We already received an excellent suggestion from Dave Kowalski on fueling a boat, turning off power to the boat, tying it up securely, closing all hatches, ports, doors, and windows, getting everyone off board and having a fire extinguisher ready, keeping the nozzle in contact with a filler pipe, estimating the amount of fuel needed and not spilling any. Afterward, cleaning up, reopening the boat, running the bilge blower 4 minutes, inspecting for leaks and spills, doing a sniff check before starting the engines, and safely leaving the dock. It sounds like a great scenario for a video. Second, let's take an in-depth look at the techniques our social media marketing team will use to leverage presences across the web and achieve viral marketing as we increase our frequency from weekly to daily title promotions. Many of these ideas could be adopted by districts, committees, or even squadrons to arouse interest and drive action. And finally, we'll discuss how you can participate in the Harbors, Bays, and River Entrances drone video project, which should be fascinating and potentially very useful to mariners. So to begin, let's look at the 10, or now 11, proposed subject areas for Season 6 videos and comment on what to include about that topic, what not to bother including, or an alternative topic that would be better for us to cover. For each listed topic, let's do 3 things. First, make suggestions for material to include to make it as valuable as possible to boaters. Second, make suggestions for things not to bother with or pitfalls to avoid when dealing with that topic. And third, let's vote either for including the topic or against including it at all. And of course, you can abstain. This vote will help us stack rank the current proposed topics and better enable us to make substitutions, such as the fueling a boat recommendation, so we end up with the strongest possible slate of 10 new videos. If you're watching the video recording of the session, here are the topics again, so you can make your notes and thumbs up or thumbs down vote and email them to info@americasboatingchannel.com. Responsibilities of recreational boat operators towards their passengers. Using propane systems on boats. New fire extinguisher regulations. Dangers of overloading boats. Navigating in channels with commercial traffic. New wireless engine cutoff systems. Avoiding slips, trips, and falls. The difficulty of donning life jackets when overboard. Electronic visual distress signaling devices. Migration to digital charts and virtual ATONs. Fueling a boat. And what would you like to suggest as an alternative topic? Now let's turn to marketing and promotion. During Season 4, we established a year-round viewership development program that centered on the launch of a new title on americasboatingchannel.com and our YouTube channel every Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We promote it with a press release distributed by 15 online newswire services and premiere the video on the top 8 social networks. During the week, we cross-promote it with graphics and messaging and social media. This approach has achieved steadily increasing viewership, which, as we noted earlier, for the second quarter of 2021, reached more than 3,300 hours of viewing, representing nearly 76,400 views of our videos and generating over 815,000 impressions, almost a 50% increase over the first quarter. For squadrons that would like to adopt this model to announce meetings, special events, or educational activities, here are the 6 most affordable and effective, meaning free or nearly free, of the 15 newswire services that we use for press release distribution. PR Log, PR.com, Live PR, Express Press Release, Hype Factors, and Open PR. Each can have its distribution tailored to a tight geographic region. And for cross-promotion, we recommend going beyond the top 3 social platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, which are must-dos at this point, to also include at least 5 more, such as Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Tumblr, and Reddit, chosen based on polling your target market to see what social media they use. The content for our weekly promotions included the newest full-length videos from the current season and pullouts or shorter form videos derived from videos that launched 2 seasons prior to the current one. After conversing with the Coast Guard about what could be done to reach more novice and especially first-time boaters and younger mobile phone viewers, we agreed to amp up the frequency of the promotion from weekly to daily with Season 6. And to create the necessary added content, by dividing the full-length videos from 2 seasons ago into much smaller segments. Post-production activities will shift from repackaging videos produced in prior seasons from 2 pullouts per long-form video in 1 to 3 minute lengths to a much higher number of much shorter pullouts of approximately 30 to 60 seconds to serve a promotional plan delivering much greater frequency. We will evolve from the established promotional program with its Featured This Week approach, introducing a different video title every Friday, to the new promotional plan, Today's Feature, introducing a different video title every day throughout the year. To begin moving in that direction, for the month of August, we tested semi-weekly promotions, introducing a Tuesday afternoon premiere in addition to Friday. We will analyze the results of that during the 10 weeks of the Season 5 new video rollout, and then finalize our plans for the migration to daily short-form videos to take place after that. As USPS members, America's Boating Channel is our video service, and you can help by liking America's Boating Channel's page on Facebook and presence on Instagram, following America's Boating Channel on Twitter, and subscribing for free to America's Boating Channel on YouTube. This way, you'll receive automatic alerts each time a new video premieres and get insider posts like behind-the-scenes photo albums. Then, when you see an America's Boating Channel post, do 2 things: like it and share it. If every member of USPS did that, we could reach nearly 5 million people with every post. So in plain language, that's how viral marketing can work. Let's discuss this and answer questions. America's Boating Channel will also conduct a beta test of a new video concept that will feature drone shots with narrative explanations of entering and leaving major U.S. waterways to prepare recreational boaters for their first sorties into these ports, harbors, rivers, and other high-traffic entrances. For this, we would like to make it as easy as possible for squadrons to participate. Identifying waterway entrances to be included for coverage, providing notes for the drone shots and narration tracks, and even capturing footage. We anticipate developing a formulaic protocol that will provide guidance on the technical aspects of acceptable drone shots, pixel size and frame rate, height of flight over the water, staying centered in the preferred navigation channel, etc., and more general considerations ranging from FAA requirements to recommendations for affordable drones that squadrons could purchase to capture footage. Along with that, developing a training system with production details and processes for participating at various levels in the creation of such videos. We also anticipate managing post-production centrally for consistency of look and feel to include editing the drone shots, applying graphics, recording narration tracks with professional voiceover talent, and branding the final videos. Distribution for the beta test will be from special sections of America's Boating Channel's website and YouTube channel. The beta test will include trying out business models, evaluating sponsorship alternatives, and exploring potential strategic alliances for rolling out the program nationwide. So let's discuss any and all of these points and also find out what suggestions or questions you have about the Waterway Entrances Drone Video Project. Thank you very much for participating in our session today. If you think of anything else, please email us at info@americasboatingchannel.com. We'll be developing all aspects of Season 6 over the next few months and will value your input. Final video concepts, production and promotion plans, and drone video project specifics will be announced at the National Annual Meeting.
Thank you for attending this educational department session. We genuinely hope that all of your expectations are realized. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future national meetings, please do not hesitate to contact one of our educational department leaders.
Our session is officially over, but if you'd like to stay a little longer, as promised, in a moment we'll screen Bui Fatalities, which from a physical production standpoint was our most intriguing video in Season 5.
Outdoor recreational activities are often associated with social behaviors that may include drinking, but boating under the influence of alcohol or drugs is extremely hazardous and illegal in every state and under federal law, for all boats from the smallest paddlecraft to the largest ships.
Recreational boaters generally have less experience operating their boats than driving their cars, and alcohol exacerbates their lack of skill and confidence. The motion of a boat on the water, engine noise and vibration, as well as the impacts of sun, wind, and spray, create stressors that intensify the effects of alcohol, causing boaters fatigue. An operator's judgment and reaction time decline more quickly than when sober.
The financial and legal repercussions of BUI can include large fines, jail terms, revocation of operator privileges, and insurance rate increases for the convicted person's car, as well as boat. But the greatest risk from BUI is even worse than having a criminal record. It's the loss of your life, the lives of your family members, friends, additional passengers, or other fellow boaters.
In recent years, according to U.S. Coast Guard statistics, boating under the influence has been the leading contributing factor in fatal boating incidents where the cause was known. There is no safe threshold for drinking and operating a boat.
Over half of all boating accidents involve alcohol or drugs, according to the Insurance Information Institute. And the Coast Guard reports that BUI incidents increase boating fatalities by approximately 34%.
A boat operator with a blood alcohol concentration above 0.1% is estimated to be more than 10 times as likely to die in a boating accident than an operator with zero blood alcohol concentration.
Alcohol affects vision, balance, and coordination. These impairments increase the likelihood of accidents afloat. Coast Guard data shows that in boating deaths involving alcohol use, over half the victims capsized their boats and/or fell overboard.
Passengers are also at greatly increased risk for injury and death, especially if they are also drunk or high and could fall overboard or distract the boat operator.
Accidents that happen when a boater is using alcohol or drugs can hurt many people. Everyone on board the vessel and everybody on other nearby boats are at risk.
Be extra careful on major holiday weekends. Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day are considered the deadliest weekends, both on the water and on the road, for accidents involving alcohol. Take special care to use defensive boat operating skills during these weekends, and be aware that local law enforcement officials will step up their efforts to identify boaters who are under the influence.
While having no alcohol aboard is the safest way to enjoy the water, if a voyage must involve alcohol, boaters need a designated sober operator.
Prior to departure, designate a qualified individual to serve in that capacity. Ensure that the person knows how to operate the boat being used. The designated sober operator must run the vessel in a safe and prudent manner and exercise reasonable care for his or her passengers. He or she has an obligation to keep all passengers safe.
For trailered boats, the designated sober operator should also be the designated driver of the vehicle used to tow the boat.
Be prepared for being outdoors and on the water. Bring non-alcoholic beverages to keep everyone aboard hydrated, and make sure the operator and all passengers are wearing properly fitted Coast Guard-approved life jackets while underway.
Because alcohol combined with the elements can impair your balance, wearing a life jacket is even more important than otherwise. Most drownings are the result of slips, trips, and falls, and drinking increases the risks of such accidents. Don't become a BUI fatality statistic.